Hello and welcome to the Storytelling for the Soul podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Kanata, and this is the place we talk about all things expressive writing and other creative techniques, all with a little bit of Buffy the Vampire Slayer thrown in. Buckle up and enjoy. Hello and welcome back to another Storytelling for the Soul episode. My name is Sarah Kanata. I'm your host, and today I want to talk about a concept that I learned about many moons ago now in a training that I can't even remember what the training was for, but it was definitely the most significant takeaway from this training. It was an extended training from memory, at least 8 to 12 weeks, something like that. But within this container, I learned about the notion of the power of the pause. And the power of the pause is something I have been able to consistently apply in my life since first learning about it. And the way that I've found it basically to be the most helpful is in the moments when I am tempted to say something and something is likely to come out of my mouth that in hindsight would be self-betrayal and something that I really don't want to do. So the easiest example that I can think of here is when someone asks me to go out and I don't really want to go, but because I don't want to offend anyone, I end up saying yes in the moment. Now, applying the wonder that is the power of the pause, rather than saying yes, which is what I think I know someone else wants to hear, I have the ability, and this happens in my mind, hopefully without people noticing, but I take a few seconds mentally, internally, and I will inevitably come up with a line along the lines of, I'll need to get back to you on that. And what that allows me to do is it rewards me with thinking time and with the ability to actually take a step back, consider what's been put on the table, and ask myself, do I genuinely want to do this? Now, of course, you can't necessarily apply the power of the pause in every single situation and circumstance. It's just a reality of life that at certain times we have to all do things that we don't really want to do. But with anything that's on the fringe, and what I noticed is that, especially in my younger years, in my 20s, I would often say yes to things with the knowledge that they weren't necessarily happening next week or in a couple of weeks, but I would say yes. And in my mind, I was thinking, oh, well, that's not going to happen until 6 months or so, or whatever the timeline may be. The problem with that is that time continues ticking. So inevitably, I will reach that point in time where then I have to go and do something that I don't legitimately want to do. So here's another tip. So I should say before I get to this tip, power of the pause is very much a practice. It took me a little while, actually a few months of trying to apply it in practice to actually get the hang of it. Because the thing with the power of the pause is that rather than saying a straight out yes or no, you do have to come up with a line that rewards you with the time to go away, contemplate and think about it. So it is very much a practice. What I have found is that I've gotten a lot better at it the more that I've done it. And it has definitely impacted my life for the better, because I no longer find myself getting roped into things that I don't genuinely want to do. Now, I'll leave you with another tip. So when I am in the process of contemplating whether to say yes or no to something, in my mind, I will ask myself, it may be a yes now, but is this, whatever it is, going to be a yes in 2 months' time? Or is it going to be something that I wake up in the morning on the day that I'm scheduled to do that exact thing, and I think to myself, I have to do this because I committed to it whenever. And that is always the deal breaker for me. If it is anything besides an emphatic yes, and it is something that I can actually say no to, obviously we want to do so in a tactful way. We don't want to legitimately go out of our way to hurt people. But if it is something that is optional, I will always say no. Because at the end of the day, we don't know how much time we get on this planet. And if you ask me, we all have things in our lives that we have to do, that there's no option for us to say no to. So with any of the other free time that I have up my sleeve, I definitely don't want to be spending it doing something just because I said yes in the moment when put on the spot. I'm going to leave it there. I hope you enjoyed this episode. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts, comments, and experiences. If you'd like to know more about my work, so expressive writing, other creative techniques, and more, my work is always evolving, you can head over to my website, sarahkanata.com. You are always very welcome to drop me an email as well, info@sarahkanata.com. Do not worry about the spelling of my name. I will pop it in the show notes, and I will chat with you next week.